First of all, let me begin by congratulating all four of you. And actually, congratulations to the entire audience here. This has been a phenomenal run so far. We are just short of 70 lakh crores. We are getting, we have crossed the 5 crore investor mark, and we're getting a gross inflows, and some months even 40,000 crores in equity funds. So I think it's been a phenomenal run. What has contributed to it, most of us would agree, the markets have been very benign, the regulator has been very benign, and the mutual fund Sahi Hai campaign seems to have worked. Obviously, underlying all this is the phenomenal work which has been done by everyone. But what has got us here will not get us there. So what is it required now for us to reach the, let's say, the 100 lakh crore mark? For that, we have to grow at 14% annualized by 2027. So what do you think is required? So I'll start with you, Navneet. What is required to achieve
आपने
that
बहुत लोगों
14?
को क्रेडिट दिया है लेकिन all our distributors and the advisors who are here, a big credit to them
Yeah, of course.
for creating this trust in the industry,
Yeah.
creating the trust in this product, and taking it to the real Bharat everywhere. So thank you so much. You can clap for yourself. Uh, so I saw that smart moves for tomorrow and what needs to change. Of course, I mean change is only constant, as they say. But there is a famous quote of Jeff Bezos who says that everybody asks me because he's disrupted retail in such a big manner. He's disrupted so many business. I'll just take 1 minute for a joke. People say that if you are in a business which Amazon wants to buy, you should sell. If you are in a business which or you should approach. And third is that if you are in a business where Amazon is not interested, close it because it's not worth doing it. They would have already entered because they are considered as like the people who have changed so many things. But there is very interesting quote about him that everybody asks me what will change. And I always tell them I focus on the things that will never change. Look at your customer, any product. I mean, they want more choices. They want things to be more cost efficient. They want it more convenient. They want it more customized. That has never changed and that will never change. I think some of those things are the ones that we need to focus continually. I think as long as we keep building the trust, we keep that thing in mind. In Silicon Valley, they say that if you put enough engineering prowess and if you put enough capital, any problem can be solved. I mean, they're thinking about putting colonies in Mars and all kinds of things. But in India, I will flip it and I will say that if you put people with a deep sense of purpose and a deep sense of passion, I think any problem can be solved. And we are in a deep problem. I mean, we are in a business where we have a deep problem to solve, which is like, how will a billion plus Indians create their retirement nest? I think if we keep that single-minded focus, a lot of things will kind of like fall in place. I can talk about products, I can talk about this tag, that tag, how will blockchain will change, how will AI will change things. But I think we should not lose sight of that. I have like better experts than me who will talk about many of those things. But I thought that I think continually focus on how do we ensure that trust. I mean, in the previous panel, I'll just take 1 more minute. Nishant asked three of them. Somebody said that I will invest more in BFSI. Somebody said consumer, and somebody said healthcare, right? And it's interesting. If you look at the products that got sold in 2020 financial year 20, Swarup, sector and thematic funds were at number 10. They were 3 or 4% or something like that of the total flows, and now they are one third of the flows of the industry. Can you create a retirement nest with that? I'm not sure. We are happy. I mean, all of us are raising money in that, and we have products. People have certain allocations to be made there, but is that the way to really create retirement nest? Not necessarily. And I think that's the most important thing. I'll just end there.
Okay. I'll take a cue from there, Navneet, and move to Swarup. Uh, he talked about sectoral these things. But is the industry doing what it preaches? The industry launches products, one can argue, when the going is good, in that by which time the sector has probably lost all steam. So how would you look at the industry's move to capitalize on thematic funds? In fact, what Navneet, it wasn't just number 10 few years back. It is actually the
Not
number. It is actually the number one. It's larger than flexi cap. It's larger than large cap today. The thematic fund category.
No, I'm saying today it is number one. It's
Yes, today it is,
35%.
yes.
It was not in top 10.
Take this discussion, why thematic? I'm not selling my fund, but when we closed our mid-cap, Mirae Asset Emerging in 2016, mid-cap investing was considered risky. Last 2 years, 40% of allocations have gone to small cap.
Yeah.
So it's not just thematic, it's across board. The risk has gone out of the window. That's the truth.
Okay.
When we start this business, and please bear with me, Navneet sir, Kailash and Mohit, when I say this, we think it's a business of return generation, it's a business of risk mitigation.
Okay.
Right? That's something we have to completely always reflect on when we build clients' portfolio. But to answer your question, we are now confusing the roles of the two. Our job is to produce products, right? Our job is to start a product and create a good track record. That's our job. Whether it fits into a client's portfolio or not is the distributor's job. And let's demarcate the two completely and not at any point of time disillusion anybody on that role. So we will continue to produce products. We will continue to explore our production capabilities. It's a matter of chance that all thematics are coming together. It's a matter of chance that all small caps came together. We can produce. If it is not good for your customer, please don't buy. It is my humble request. Because finally, you are the safeguard of your customer's portfolio. What is a mutual fund? A mutual fund is a pool of customers coming together to share a common financial goal. That financial goal has to comply with your investor's financial goal. If it is not, then it has no reason to be in any of your customers' portfolio. So there are two different roles. I mean, to say that the industry is producing or showing a direction, our direction, and Navneet and I have had this debate continuously on many stages. See, for me at Mirae Asset, I'm a 16-year journey. They're a 30-year journey. I have a lot more to do. By the time I reach 30 years, they'll be 45 years. Their space in fund management or their level in fund management, this 15 years can never be matched. So when I will launch a product, I still don't have a small cap. To sit in the market for 2 years without a small cap is like not being an MC, is a reality. But I can justify why I can't launch a small cap. Or I can justify why we are very big on thematics. Trust me, and I'll really request you.
We have all the products, so it was music to my ears.
No, I'm just
asked for 3 products. So.
I'm just coming. The questions which Nishant asked on thematics, if we do this same discussion 5 years later, none of those questions will exist. The globe is not investing in market cap anymore. The globe is not investing in thematics. The globe is investing in future thematics. That's where they have gone. So 5 years later, the questions that are posed in the last panel, none of those questions will exist. And that's the evolving nature of the industry. And we'll see that process. And then it will only mature us as manufacturers. It will mature all of you as distributors and financial advisors.
Okay. Now, turning to you, Kailash, the industry has done whatever could have been done. Now, what else do you think? So when I asked Navneet said there is a big opportunity. He talked about retirement, and then he talked about the fact that you have to keep doing whatever you've been doing, be customer-centric. I want more specific ideas from you on what do you think will take the industry ahead.
So I'll just respectfully disagree to the question. If you said that industry has done whatever it had to do, let me tell you, industry has not done what it had to do. Okay, we have miles and miles and miles to go. For example, today we are English. The India is not English. Bharat is not English. We need to be in 14, 16 languages. Most of us, the best of us are in 6 or 8 languages. Okay? So there's miles to go on that. If you don't become more vernacular, you don't produce literature, videos, material which are vernacular, you cannot connect to the last mile in India. That is very practical. So we need to do that. Number 2, unfortunately, we love to use jargon. The common man on the street does not understand jargon. We need to de-jargonize ourselves completely. You go to any conference, you go to any panel, somehow or the other, It's just become a kind of habit, right? You get up in the morning and brush your teeth. We come on a panel and we talk jargon. Yeah? And jargon makes us sound intelligent. Problem is, in tier 3, tier 4, how many people understand that jargon? So if you want to grow from 5 crore customers to 15 crore customers, you cannot use the same language. So you need to change your language. You need to change the way you communicate. You need to change your marketing style. You need to bring simplified products. I think so. That's a long way to go for us. Okay. And again, on your first question, 100 lakh crores is going to happen. We don't need to do anything different. The question is, do we need to do anything different for 200 lakh crores? And the answer will be yes. 100 तो होने वाला है मेरे हिसाब से उसमें कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I think the distributors, the investors, they are doing a fantastic job. The good news is last 6-7 years, they have not seen a substantiated fall, for a very long period of time. And I think the momentum is there today. Today, if you read the newspaper, they said that 10.2 crore new people have filed tax in the last 9 years. If 10.2 crore people have filed tax returns, we are not even at 5 crore individual investors. Can we double this? The good news is the last 1 crore has come in just about 12 months. So that's the good news for us. So it's increasing, the pace is increasing, and I'm extremely bullish. I only hope that as an industry, we stop talking AUMs completely and we only talk about new additions to investors in this industry. That would be my only request going further.
Okay. Mohit, a lot of growth has been driven by the rising markets. Okay, we've had a phenomenal run. And what if the markets were to take a tumble?
Well, that's the $1 million question, I would say. But see, I think we have experts here, and you heard a panel of fund managers. So I think all indications are that we may not see a very big drawdown. But that said, I think given that we operate in the open-ended space, it is very important that we prepare, for ensuring that concentration risk and liquidity risk in the portfolios is, amply managed. And I think we are sometimes too harsh on ourselves. I mean, I heard the panel with due respect, I think, and due respect to people sitting here, I think all these three have been icons in the industry. And we've created a remarkable, I would say, industry, and which I think is other industries look up to us, right? So, slightly digressing from what you said, on the risk part, I think it's about, managing these. To me, I think managing the drawdown risk is important, which comes in from, robust risk management processes of ensuring that you're not overly exposed to, any particular, from a AMC level, not overly exposed to one particular product or theme. From an overall perspective, I need to manage the investor concentration, distributor concentration, and also the investment concentration, which means as part of the outstanding equity of a company, what do we hold? So I think those are some of the basics that fall in place. And I think the industry as such has been doing it remarkably well. If I were to, put it in relative terms vis-a-vis some of the other, segments. So to that extent, I think while I said it's very difficult to predict if there can be very big drawdown, which can happen, but to me, the indications are that is unlikely. And whenever you see this kind of small corrections happening in the industry or the market valuations, you see interest coming in from all segments, including the FIs, right? So while last month has been a big month of selling, but still, you see whenever the market corrects, there is ample interest. So we don't see that big risk there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just wanted to ask, the last few days have been very volatile for the markets. And we haven't seen this kind of a volatility for a little while. So while it hasn't been so steep as yet, but what is the initial reaction to the inflows? How have your inflows been impacted, all four of you? All four of you.
So I think the maturity of the market
are
is...
people holding back or investing more?
Yeah, so the maturity of the market is on display now. As a fund house, we wait for volatile times, because if the market goes down, trust me, and these are transparent figures, those days are big days for equity inflows for all of us. I mean, that's a lot of credit has to go to all of you. We are now dismantling that old saying that, when the market is on sale, people run away. No, when the market is on sale, people are actually coming. And that's the journey all of us have now seen together. And I see that growing further. Especially on the passive side, I wait for that day. Because that day, the volumes from market cap to thematic all just surge on both sides. I mean, those are great days for inflows for the market. And then I wish and pray that this volatility grows, because in volatility lies the opportunity, which will give the fund management opportunities to sort of take their new positions or change positions, whatever. It'll be great for investors to reflect on what they've been doing, because I dare say, from a pure asset allocation perspective, the last 2-3 years have been skewed to one side. And that will give a lot of people this risk of kind of situation that we are in, when suppose tomorrow, today, you have to stand up and say 12 to 15% as our return projection, people will throw us out of this room, ki ye kya return hai karke. But that's where we have to come back to. And some of these will now bring us to reflect on the real essence of long-term investing. And then people now start judging us on 3 months of underperformance. That's where we have come to. So maybe all these will augur well for us to bring back some of the sanity and do this boring business that it should be.
Yeah,
I check the purchase and redemption transactions every day, particularly whenever there's a large market move. And we have seen, and I'm sure as Swarup mentioned, all of us have noticed that the day market is down, your purchase transactions go up very substantially, which means, I mean, that's a level of maturity and all the hard work done by people sitting here, that investors are a lot more mature. Rather than getting worried about, I think they think that there's an opportunity to increase my allocation a little bit or just top up my SIP a little bit more. It's very different. So the last 30 years, over a period of time, because the way funds got sold in the first bull market, 92, in 99, 2000 or 2006, 7, fine. I mean, it used to be like a bull market product. People invest and then the profit book karna hai 1-2 saal baad. But now we are seeing this maturity where people are like putting perpetual SIPs and thinking that I have to save for 20, 30 years and then I'll need that retirement nest, which is a very, very big shift. The most positive shift that we are seeing in the industry today.
I completely agree with them. The trend is fantastic. In fact, this month, when you look at the industry figures, because we get the weekly report from CAMS and KFinTech, it's 15-20% up in terms of gross sale just in this month because of the volatility. And the interesting, if you dissect the segments, it is a retail investor who's become the smartest. Okay, some of the qualified investors, HNIs or they actually withdraw money during falls, but it's the retail investor who's actually entering the market. So if you look at that segment, whether on the stock exchange or through mutual fund, that's the one which is showing the big growth.
By the way, you're talking about the 40,000 crores. Actually, the gross sales in last 3 months, July, August, September, has been in excess of 1 lakh crores. Net is around 53,000 crores or so per month, I think roughly 1.5 lakh crores, because it's a 50% retention for the industry. Because there are people who are putting, there are people who are redeeming for various reasons. But it's been 1 lakh crore plus of gross inflows into equity funds. Yeah.
fantastic.
The scale has changed completely. Industry has added 15 lakh crores or so in last 1 year in AUM, which is much more than what the AUM was, the total industry AUM 8-9 years back.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's maybe when you talked about the market appreciation, it's about 45-50%. I think the net flows have also been strong. I can tell you from our side, I mean, just kind of reiterate what other panelists said, that we would see strong flows. And as a small AMC, I think for us, the base effect is, I mean, reflects as even higher percentages. So we've seen almost like a growth of 4 times in our SIP book over the last, couple of years. And again, whenever you see market corrections, you see very big interest.
Prem sir, let me reflect on some data. I say every Amphi AGM, I go to listen to the chairman's speech and take down some notes. And Navneet reflected on some very interesting data points this year. The industry is now held by the individual investors. When we started our careers in the late 90s, is the institutional side which used to be responsible for the AUM. Now 63% of the AUM is with individual investors. That's how this industry has changed, and it will slowly go to 70-75%. The mutual fund product is finding its rightful owner now. Second part, is, when this direct plan came, I just want to reflect on this. There's a lot of discussion. The AUM of individual MFDs was 16% of the industry. Today, it is 26%, the peak. And that's the maturity that is developing at the underlying at all sides. And that's something which we have to talk more and probably move, like Kailash said, more towards investor count than if you want to celebrate AUM, all of us there to celebrate. But this is the key change, and this change is irreversible now.
Okay.
So when people used to say that industry has grown so much and all that, so I just used to show one data point that all the money we manage on behalf of individual investors is less than the currency with public in India, less than the hard cash which is there in the circulation. This is the first year where we have crossed that number.
Okay, we've been talking about phenomenal figures here. We've been talking about phenomenal growth. But one important stakeholder is the distributor. But we don't find the distributor count going up too much. So, because I feel that if we do not have enough distributors, we are going to have what is called a capacity constraint. Because in the bull markets, no doubt, there will be fintech platforms which will encourage people to come, which will make it easy for them to invest. But God forbid if the markets are not so benign tomorrow, and if the number of distributors are not there, then how does the industry grow then?
Prem, I'm going to give you an interesting stat on this, okay? I agree with you. We are way less than what we need. 3 years back on your platform in Tadland's End, I had made a statement and I had asked the audience, or 4 years back actually, saying that how many of you have your second generation in the business? And they were just, I remember, 3 hands up. Today, because we ran a Gen Next program, training program, the number of second gen entering the business to take on is unbelievable. From small towns to big towns, and the success is getting reflected. So what I'm seeing is that now the confidence level that distribution is a very good profession is now starting to seep in. 5 years back, it wasn't considered a great profession. You were not able to see too much money being made. Today, the number of people with more than 100 crores is large, so you earn a lot of money. I think the confidence level, and I am quite sure that over the next 3 to 4 years, you will see this number explode. That's the story. Because today, people believe that you can make money in distribution, which was not the case 4 years back.
Okay, yeah, Swarup.
See, I'm not a big proponent of you need a lot of distributors in this digital era anymore. I mean, let's break it down to some simple data to talk about 1 lakh crores or whatever. So you put the power of compounding in front of you, a 12% growth for the industry doubles it in 6 years. If it's a partnership, you put 12%, we put 12% growth from fund management, it doubles in 3 years, right? For 1.5 lakh crores, do we need more distributors? I kind of disagree. Now, what Kailash says is once this whole profession starts reaching 2-3 lakh crores of AUM outcome, you will see a lot coming in. That's where the experienced distributors will be able to differentiate themselves from the newcomers, right? And that's how the profession starts differentiating the men from the boys. And that's something which will play out. Now, there'll be investors at different segments. Some will go digital. Some will, in fact, grow their assets with you. At this moment also, we have not penetrated into the complete wallet share of our existing investors. So at any point of time, there are 4 investors in the mutual fund industry on every day. An investor who's coming in, an investor who's going out, and an investor who is there. There's a 4th investor or there's a 4th distributor who's not there or is not there. If we concentrate on the first 3, the journey is predictable. Whether they will come or not, we have to make ourselves attractive for it. We will, and that day is not very far away. Do we need them to grow? My answer is no.
Okay. What's your take, Mohit?
So, I'll slightly differ from what, Swarup said, that clearly we see a difference between the number of distributors you see or agents you see in the insurance side, mutual fund side, so some 1.5 lakh compared to 30 lakhs, and plus the EUIN holder. So the point of sales, actually you're not counting the banking, certifications that would be there. So it will be say 2.5 lakh here. But that said, still one element which keeps people away from investing is the market risk and volatility and all that. So to me, I think that's the element which can be, that's the element which a person who's seasoned in the markets or has experience of handling different products or information on products can do best. And that's the mutual fund distributor. So I'm saying we are talking about, say, 25,000 crores of SIP throughput. It would have been 4 times that, right? Had the intermediation been there, to me, I think that's one big game changer that can happen. And there could be ways to really bring forth that. And I think, we have people, Navneet heads Amphi, so we'll request that, if part of the budget that you have for the investor education can be put aside, let's say 2% of that budget set aside for trainings, which is conducted under the aegis of Amphi for existing distributors, getting new distributors. We already have an Amphi Aaron committee, I think, plan, which is we're talking about doing attracting more distributors into the fold of mutual funds. So I think the multiplier effect can be huge. And to me, having worked in mutual fund companies and AMCs which had fortunately captive distribution, I think the direct model, I don't think there is a direct cause and effect. It's a consequence of your performance, people talking about it. But the big way and a sustainable way to grow for AMCs as manufacturers in an industry which has to thrive on volumes because the operating leverage is very high. And so the margins are slim. You'll have to have a variable cost sales expansion model, which is basically what distribution tells you, and that's the partnership that will thrive and grow and let the industry reach the next level.
Okay. Now, Navneet, I'm come to you with another question. We haven't been talking about regulatory risks at all over the last few years. What has happened? From a time when, there used to be, let's say, mutual, mutual, lack of trust, to put it very bluntly, to now I understand that the mutual fund industry is being held up as a model industry for the other financial sectors. Is that correct? And what has led to it? And could this change in the future?
No, I think we have heard from Sebi several times. I think chairperson and various other people in Sebi. The other day we were in an event with executive director and then another mutual fund event. And all of them have been saying that mutual fund industry has been a model. MFI has been a model for all the other spheres of capital markets. And they want other organizations or the other segments in the financial services to actually follow the model that mutual fund industry has been following, which is of co-creation, which is of collaboration with the regulator. All of us work like very, very closely. At times, because regulator has to think from various perspectives, I think the Sebi's preamble is market development, is investor protection and the market integrity over a period of time. Several times it happens that at that point in time, you think, why is this? I just give one example that, and you talked about when the industry is growing and the role that mutual fund Sahi hai and the IAP has played in that. When the 2 basis point came, bulk of the industry AUM was fixed income. Within that, a very large proportion was liquid fund. And the fee was like 5-10 basis point. And people said, 20%, 10% of my revenue gone. How can you have like one regulatory move which is making such a big difference? But look at the power of the 2 basis point, what it has done in last couple of years. And there are so many others. I think the more transparency that we have brought in along with working with the regulator has done wonders. That's why the trust in the product has gone up so much. The more trust we build over a period of time, it is going to be good for the industry.
Okay. Now, Swarup, आपके लिए एक सवाल ये है. I've never heard of any regulator anywhere actually giving birth to a new product class. So what do you have to say about Sebi actually,
I think
almost
it just reflects on the proactiveness of the regulator. Just to reflect on your previous statement and to say that the relationship with Sebi and us, or the regulator is us, is like the relationship between my dad and me. Every time he comes and intervenes in my life, I think he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know the future. He's changing my life. Mera life to kabada ho jayega kal. But after 30 years, I reflect that, if he had not interjected at that point of time and not corrected me, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And that's the reality. And I can go on rattling off events and names. And somebody said every Friday, please, we are 68 lakh crore. That's a lot of money. As we go to 1.5 lakh crores, we need to safeguard this even more. Trust me, every Wednesday, abhi weekly, 2 bhi aa sakta hai. And that we have to brace for. Please, this is not a joke. This is somebody else's money we are talking about. Please reflect on that, right? Every money that comes into our system has to be accounted for. We have to know the source of each money, because the flow of money digitally can be very, very rampant. And that we have to stand up and take cognizance of. If we are not, then we are in the wrong business, is where I come from, right? When it comes to the new products, is again reflection of what's happening in the market. That side of the market is definitely not regulated enough. And what this will do, and Navneet is the right person to ask this question over me, because he's more influential on that part and plays a very critical role in these formations. And I learn a lot. I have no qualms in saying I learn a lot from him on these parts, because I'm essentially a sales guy. But that part needs to be regulated. And what the regulator is now attempting to do is make that transparent, give us this opportunity to come and reflect on our fund management skills and give you products which are beyond what we have given you now, given you products perceivably in the riskier side at 10 lakh rupees per investor. And give it to you in a transparent, coherent, regulated manner. It's a huge opportunity for us. And it will allow us to showcase our fund management talents even much better than we've done in the... So we'll be very excited about it.
So, Kailash, are you equally excited about this opportunity?
Oh, yeah. I think our industry has grown because of the level of transparency. And if new product categories are coming in, it only helps because the image is now very clear that the mutual fund industry is the most transparent industry. There's no hidden things which are there. But Prem, just before I sign off in terms, because I know the time is running out, I just wanted to caution, it's an important audience. Your platform is very important. Generally, in this euphoria, we forget one very important thing is what are the risks in the market today? And actually, the risk is investor expectation today. The investor expectation has gone so high that if you don't deliver 20-25% return in future, they will be disappointed. And I think it is each one of us in this room to manage that investor expectation. These returns that we have delivered over the last 2-3 years are like a bonus. They can't sustain forever. And that's something I would just request all of you, because you all are in touch with people. For the future, if you want to have a future which is equally bright and great, please manage investor expectations from today. It's very, very critical.
I'll just make one point that, in all our discussions in mutual fund industry, presentations, you see like mutual fund, PMS, AIF. You see active, passive. See equity, fixed income, money market, T30, B30, institutional, retail. This is not. The business is an investor at the center. There is a saver at the center who needs a solution. What is our business? Our core capability is investment management, risk management, product management, interlinked with each other. This is what we are, and this is what we need to offer and keep thinking about all the time. Then with the power of data and analytics, your relationship, your service, and then how do you do that? But that's the core of our business, which gets less attention in all the discussions, and we kind of like on all of that periphery.
Okay. Now, Mohit, if your favorite nephew were to come to you and seek your advice on becoming a MFD, or rather he's already become an MFD, what would be your tips to him?
So I think it's a great profession, first of all. I think it's got a very, very bright future. And I would say that he should focus on controlling the controllable, which to me is, 3-4 things that come to my mind. which kind of broadly helps MFD generate alpha for his clients, or provide that value add, which could be in the form of the biggest being the strategic asset allocation. I think the fund selection plays a very important role if you look at the differences between categories over the larger time. So that's where the role of the advisor is extremely important. Then, of course, behavioral biases, which kind of form the number one item, I would say, in terms of distracting people from their financial goals. Staying put being one of the big ones. And that's the biggest controllable, I think. So that's something where truly being persistent on those is going to be very important in terms of his journey for the client as well as for his longevity in the business. Finally, it's about timing, right? So I would say it's a time-old cliche that, spending time in the market is more important than timing the market. But that said, I think there are tactical opportunities which, so it's like say never. So you have to kind of approach it with an open mind, not be dogmatic about things, because there is no, set formula for making money. It's not like a math that you will make money. But yes, over the long term, controlling the controllable in terms of what you can really do is going to be important in this journey. And once again, I think it's a phenomenal market that's unfolding for good advisors, distributors in our country.
Okay. Since we are almost coming to the end of time, Navneet, Kailash, and Swarup, each one of you, one piece of advice to the distribution community here, other than saying temper their expectations, what would be the other piece of advice you would give to? Yeah, all three of you. Each one of you, rather.
Okay. See, we are sitting at a position where we'll start adding 1 crore new folios every year. The market has changed. If I were to lose my job today, I would become an MFD, no doubt and debate on that. The star of every investor is his or her goal. The rock star is the person who takes this investor to the goal. You are the rock star. And if you don't believe in that, it's your problem. Think of the future. This is the best time to be in this profession. This is the best time in the world to be in this country. And we are so lucky to be here at this time doing this profession. Just uphold the merits of this profession. That's my only request.
Kailash?
So apart from whatever Swarup said, I'll add one thing. COVID taught us an important lesson that we can do transactions using technology, and paper and pen stopped. I've started to see paper and pen come back again. Focus on using technology for transactions so that you free your time to be more client-centric and client-facing. I think that's very, very important. Don't go back to the old habits of pen and paper, because it is only taking away your personal time to meet more and more clients, which is there.
So as everyone said, the growth is given. So this year, we almost crossed almost touching $800 billion in AUM. This was the AUM of US mutual fund industry in 1988. By 98, they became $5 trillion. So you can imagine where we would be in next 10, 15 years. Growth is given. And as Swarup said, that 8 crore investors in 2019 mein. First time jab humne cleaning kiya data ka, so 1 crore unique investors say, now it has become like 5 in last 5 or 6 years. So it's been a rapid growth. And I think we are at the tipping point. It should be that J-curve growth. But the most important thing is, I mean, he talked rightly about technology and Swarup talked about something else. There's only one, the trust. What we need to ensure is the trust is not broken. This is the most noble profession in the world. Whether somebody in my business or in my team or somebody in the distribution team or in the entire ecosystem, including people like you. This is the most noble profession in the world. We are managing somebody else's money. And every single day, I think that must be in your mind that we should not do anything which can bring down the trust of that investor, because that will impact the entire ecosystem. That will impact the trust in the capital market, and we should not do anything. It's like the butterfly effect. मतलब इतने से क्या हो जाएगा? And sometimes I hear words like, you cannot be holier than thou. The 5 most, हम investing में बोलते रहते हैं, fund manager sitting in front of me. The 4 most dangerous words are this time is different. But the 5 most dangerous words in our business is everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is doing it. ऐसा सब कर रहे हैं तो हम भी कर रहे हैं. नहीं करेंगे हम वही करेंगे जो इन्वेस्टर के लिए सही है, तो ही ये मार्केट बनेगा, तो ही इंडस्ट्री वहाँ पहुँचेगी.
Okay. So, okay. Mohit, last parting word from you. You're the new kid in the block.
No, so I think to me,
only looks young,
two
huh?
big game changers for our industry, and I'm not because I'm sitting here with MFDs, but I really agree with what Navneet said, कि building trust is extremely important. And I think अब ये जो 3 से 5 साल वाली thinking है, इसको हम 25 साल वाली करें तो I think that can be one big game changer. To me, two distinct things on which the industry has to work with the regulator and our distribution partners is, of course, increasing distribution reach. To me, I think clearly we are seeing the numbers where you have the volumes, the number of transactions increasing in the B30 or smaller locations. SIPs, I think 55% come from the B30 locations. So obviously increasing distribution penetration, making sure that we are up to date, investing in knowledge, I think is one big part which we'll have to continuously do. In fact, when we talked about insurance and mutual fund, let me tell you that insurance, after all these years, all this effort, so much more distribution is just about 40-45 lakh crores of assets, versus the mutual fund industry, which is, much ahead. And also the penetration as a percentage of GDP, still struggling at 4%, but the industry is at about 18%. So we've kind of, like I said earlier also, we've been a little bit overly harsh on ourselves. I think the industry, along with the whole ecosystem, which includes our partners, has done a splendid job. To me, this is going to continue. Again, want to reiterate what Swarup said. It's a great time to be in the industry and in India. I think truly phenomenal times. And two big game changers for me could be the role that distribution plays. And from our side, simplifying the KYC and the operational hassle. So if I were to have one wish, we should have one single point entry, like the US has the social security number. If you have something like that, it can be a very big game changer.
Okay. Good. Hopefully that will happen also sometime soon. Okay. So thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Possible, but just publish one information once NFO is closed. How many new investors, first time investor, you have brought in NFO? That will solve our problems. No switch or nothing. And
from our
मैं तो बोलूँगा
perspective,
फर्स्ट टाइम वाले को HDFC फ्लेक्सी के फंड में लाइएगा.
yes,
हम भी रेगुलर NFO करते
stop
रहते हैं.
NFO.
I won't give the number, but we got very large number of first time investors in the manufacturing fund. But पहले उसको फ्लेक्सी कैप में लाइएगा.
but from our perspective, we could probably publish the number of new investors we get as an AMC, not as an industry, because
yes,
Yeah.
we want that figure. No switch or.
but मेरा कोई NFO नहीं था, just for it.
Okay. Okay. With that, we come to the
Yes,
end
sir,
of this session.